Good evening, everyone. The time is now 6:01 p.m. on Monday, April the 19th, 2021. Welcome to another meeting of the Inkster City Council orientation session. Before we get started, just asking for you to keep our treasurer in your prayers. He had a family member that that is dealing with some issues, and he's on his way to the hospital right now.
Wow.
Just got off the phone with him, and he won't be joining us tonight. So as it relates to items that we had on the agenda, that I know that we should have our treasurer present for, we would probably need to table those items depending on what the pleasure is of the council. We do have Brian from Plant Moran that'll be joining us. If you want to continue forward, we can. The main one that I'm really focused in on, of course, is the budget amendments. I think that it's appropriate for our treasurer to be with us, but unfortunately he cannot at this moment. We're just hoping that everything is okay with his family member, but he's in a panic and on his way to the hospital right now. So,
Kendall?
Does any of the council members have any comments as it relates to that, as it relates to, again, the item on the agenda tonight for item B for the approval of the budget?
You said item B?
You said B.
No, B. Did you?
Yeah, it's item B. Item B, the consideration and approval of the budget amendments. Our treasurer, of course, like I said, he will not be joining us.
Already, so I'm prepared. I'm prepared to vote on it.
Okay, I am not prepared to vote on it. There are too
We
many
know that.
questions involved in this for us
Yeah.
not to have the treasurer present.
Yeah, I totally agree. I just wanted to make sure before I made the decision. Again, this is the council's meeting. The item is on the agenda because, of course, we put it on the agenda for you to approve. But I believe that the treasurer should be here to be able to answer those questions that we need for him to answer. So if we're all in agreements with that, then, to come to that item, I would ask for that item to be tabled into our next meeting.
Mr. Chair, I'm in agreement with that. So we can make sure that we have it crystal clear when we go over these amendments. So it won't
Correct.
look like it's no shady business because he's gone or whatnot.
Yeah, for certain. I really appreciate that. All right, let's jump right into it. Any questions on item A? And that's the extension of the special land use. Okay. Any questions as it relates to item C? For McKenna and Associates addendum of their contract for planning services.
Yes, Mayor,
Yes, go ahead, Councilwoman Watley.
this contract was terminated years ago when we brought planning in-house. So I don't understand how we can be utilizing it and adding to it.
Yeah, let's have our attorney speak to that. David.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, we had, I was gonna ask if I could get the clerk to send me the updated agenda. And apparently it was amended and I never got the email with the added item C of McKenna contract on there. But I am familiar with the McKenna contract. For years, the city and McKenna have a contract that it would use for the city's convenience, depending on what services we wanted, what services we intended to use, we would utilize the contract. I know that there was a parting of the ways, and my memory just wouldn't serve with regard to when McKenna the city stopped utilizing McKenna as for some of its planning services. Couldn't remember if that was under this administration or the previous administration. I just don't recall.
The
But
previous one. Right.
it was the previous one? Okay.
Mhm.
But the contract I'm very familiar with, it did allow us to pick and choose what services we use. So without seeing the matter on the agenda, because I don't have the current agenda, I'm familiar with the actual contract. If I could get the updated agenda, I will look at it again. And if it's the body's wish, we certainly can go over and, affect a contract if it's intended for McKenna to be picking up some of the services going forward with regard to planning.
Yeah, we're just basically using McKenna as needed as it relates to our special land uses and some other planning activity that was left behind from the previous director. So I do have McKenna on the line right now. I believe I see Chris on from McKenna. I don't know if Paul. Oh, there you go, Paul. Paul, if you can talk about a little bit about the contract, because I know that we had some contracts from 2007, another one in 2014, and then like another one in 2016, and all the council should actually have those. If you could talk about that a little bit, because that's why we brought it to it tonight, just as it relates to the contract never being, like it was, you've always pretty much had a contract with the city. So if you can speak to that, please.
Yes, and I believe it was Councilwoman Howard that asked the question, and it's good to see folks that I recognize here this evening. I was not aware if council did take an action to cancel the contract. I know that is something the contract allows council to do. I know under the previous administration, Mayor Nolan's, we did a limited amount of work with Mayor Nolan. The time when I was serving the city as a daily planner, I know I even helped Mayor Nolan select and hire candidates. I think Adriana Jordan was the first planner, and since then you've had a few people help you internally. The contract is set up as Attorney Jones mentioned, for us to provide assistance as needed. I think that if council did take action, it certainly could take action to renew the contract. I believe we've been working with Mayor Wimberly the last week to discuss the types of services that the city would need in interim to maintain planning services. Certainly myself and my colleague Chris, who actually will be the project manager working with the city, are here tonight to answer any questions. Really happy to be available to provide the city with services and to help maintain quality level of service for Inkster residents and business owners throughout this time period. With respect to the kind of nuts and bolts of making sure that we have a contract on file, the base contract that we've used for services with Inkster was actually initiated by City Council, I think back in 2007 with a major amendment. I think that happened in 2009. And it handles, the provisions of services, the responsibility and due diligence that we are bound to for the city. We did provide the mayor with updated rates, adjusted for community price index, and our current hourlies. But the base provisions of the services remain the same. So I think that we would be comfortable working under the 2007 contract with the updated rates. And, we are certainly happy to work with the attorney in the mayor's office to make any revisions council deems necessary.
Okay. Questions or comments?
Yes.
Go ahead, Councilman Chisholm.
I saw earlier we had got, I guess, the 2007 contract, but I didn't have that opportunity to review that. Yes, I had only reviewed the addendum for item C. So my questions with McKinnon's administrative duties is, will this include day-to-day operations, which are like in-person or virtual meetings, being on site to meet with business owners, and how many days a week would that be?
Yeah, and that's kind of what we're discussing now as it relates to just the workload, what's coming in, because we do have a chief building administrator that is a plan reviewer as well. So, you know, pretty much on the daily, the stuff that comes in will go through, you know, application process through the building department. And then we would coordinate with Chris and Paul on what we would need. As we see right now, you know, with the workload that is on the table for us right now, it's about 10 hours a week that we're looking at to pretty much stay within the budgeted amount for the current planner's salary.
And the review fees, aren't they sort of kind of funneled towards the engineer right now? Like with reviewing the different plans and things like that?
Yeah, and that'll be as needed. And we've been talking with the engineer, you know, about, you know, just the actual cost of it, because like right now, our plan review is like $1,750. And from my understanding that most of the engineering fees, most of that $1,750 is ate up by engineering fees. And, you know, when we've been looking at different stuff that's been coming back as it relates to the engineering items, most of the stuff is existing stuff, because most of the buildings that we haven't, you know, outside of the marijuana groups, we haven't had any new construction. Most of the stuff is existing buildings. We'll be able to monitor that a little bit closely, and then those fees will actually be passed off along to the business owner.
So with all of that being said, you said you guys are in talks about that now. Is that going to be an updated contract that we receive so we can see it in writing? Because if you're still in talks about it now, I don't think it's hard for us. It's something for us to vote on yet. I mean, I just kind of got confused.
What was you saying? What are you saying now?
The questions I asked, you said some of that stuff is what you're talking about now, like with engineer and what's going to be going.
No, yeah, just make sure we're clear as it relates to the engineer and us in administration. So the building official, along with myself and Jerome, who actually is over the engineer, we're talking about that, you know, and what those fees look like and why are the fees so high. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about with McKenna and Associates and what they would do for us.
Okay, I'm still confused, because even when I talked about like the day-to-day operation stuff, I saw Paul nodding his head. Yes, that would be some of the stuff that they would care for. But when I said something about being on site, how many days a week, and then you talked about people would be, their applications would come through the building official.
Correct. Yeah. So as it relates to the time that we would need Paul or Chris, well, it'll actually be Chris. It'll be 10 hours a week that he'll be on site here at City Hall to handle those things that come before us that we need them for.
And what about planning commission meetings? Who will be the in-person or virtual person for that?
Yeah, it'll be Chris.
Okay.
Yeah, and all that stuff is laid out in the contract.
And that's what I'm asking. Not asking. I said, I just got an addendum a couple of days ago, but this morning we got the actual contract from 2007. At that particular time, things have changed. I know you said updating the rates. So that's all.
I want to make sure too, and I don't mean to cut you off, Councilman, but the contract from 2007 was included in the items that were sent out to the entire council on last Tuesday from
they were.
the city clerk.
Yes.
Yes.
And the revised agenda.
Yeah, so the clerk,
We got that today.
Mr. Mayor, that wasn't included. The only thing that was included was the addendum, is what you asked me to include. But some council members had asked for the 2007.
yeah, the
So,
2007 contract, city
include the
clerk.
addendum.
The city clerk, if you look back in your email that you sent out, and me and you, we talked about this, the 2007 contract was actually upside down. So it's in those attachments from that email that was sent out to council.
Would you happen to know just offhand and just coming up towards, I guess, 7 o'clock, what page number that is then?
As it relates to what's that you're
Said
talking
the
about?
upside down information and the agenda that came out. I just want to be able to refer to it. If it's the same thing that got sent out today, though, then it's no problem. But
No, it is.
I'm just trying to understand you said what was sent out today. That was from 2007.
Yes.
We sent out but we sent out the actual contract that we're looking at tonight
Yes, that was sent out last week on
Exactly.
Thursday. Yes,
That was an addendum.
that's the addendum that was sent out last week is the addendum.
It's the entire contract. So when you say addendum, I don't understand
It
what you
was
mean.
2 pages. That
Right.
what was sent to us was 2 pages. What
Yes.
we received today was the 2007 contract. Now, when you refer to the addendum and say it's based on the 2007 contract, a lot of us were not on council in 2007, so we have no way of knowing what you're talking about. And I just think it's pretty slipshod for us to be expected to vote on something we have not seen or understand or hasn't been clearly spelled out for us. That's what a contract does. It gives us your agreement and our agreement. That's how we know what we're supposed to do. And this does not.
I'm just trying to understand what you mean as it relates to the addendums that we're talking about. The contract is the same from 2007 to the contract that we presented to you now. We presented the actual contract. That's the information that I received from Paul.
Okay, but
and I sent to
maybe
the city
you,
clerk send
not to cut you
all.
off, but maybe you
Uh-huh.
should go back and look at the 2 pages we got that said an addendum, and what we got today was a 4 or 5 page black and white copy of something from 2007.
Okay, I'm actually looking at this now. What you're
Samir, I think you're looking at what you asked me to send you prior to. So, and then you told me to send out the addendum. So I don't think, yeah, that's the addendum. That's the part that they're referring to. But that's what we call an addendum. The
and
2000
you sent out the contracts as well.
today,
Oh,
because the members were asking about it.
So perhaps since we're so confused about what's going on here contractually, and we have a contract that's still talking about city managers and things of that nature, maybe this is something that you need to go back to the table and bring us a clean copy of something that spells out what our obligations are and their obligations.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at that email now.
And if I could, Mayor,
It went out on the 15th, so I'm trying to understand what we're talking about as it relates to 2007.
So the contract originally was created in 2007. That is the one that is on file with the city of Inkster. Nothing changed since then. Since we're talking about bringing them in as planning, they added an addendum, which is only 3 pages, which changes the rates and everything and other little small subtle nuances. But we have a 2007 contract with an addendum that says these need to be updated. What I look for in a contract is a full contract to come back before us with the year 2021 on it and the new dates that will be executed with all the rates. Not a 2007 contract with an addendum saying, hey, update this because nothing else changes. So that's what I was talking about, a clean copy, because I'm looking at 2 different PDFs.
Okay. So Paul, can you send that to us, please?
Yeah, so I'm listening to the conversation. I think I understand what many council members are asking for. It's essentially a new contract, which we would be happy to provide a new contract. You know, at all times, as long as I've provided services, whether it was in, you know, the day when I was doing day-to-day services or special projects, we've always operated with the city of Inkster according to that 2007 contract. So I know that in meeting with the mayor last week, we were talking about urgent needs. Caitlin, your day-to-day planner, her last day was on Friday, and there's a lot of business going on. So we were working to get here this evening and provide the addendum so that we could help immediately address those urgent needs. And I know Chris, my colleague, was in the city 2 days last week working with the outgoing planning department to make sure that there wasn't a gap in service for the city. It is my belief that we could operate under that addendum if the city does want to provide a bridge and services at this time, and we could bring a new contract to your next meeting. That might be a way, and I would be looking maybe to the attorney, Mr. Jones, to provide us some guidance on whether or not that was a action that City Council could take this evening. My goal would be to bring you the contract you want at your very next meeting with the dates, and it would be the same rates in the addendum that you would be looking at this evening. What I would do is I would ask my contract department basically to create a new contract that would supplant the addendum and the old contract for your consideration. And of course, working with McKenna it's always as needed. So we work with authorizations, we do what you ask us to do. We work, when we're approved to work, and that's one of the advantages to working with a consultant. So, if say at your next meeting, if we come back with a contract and you decide you don't want to act on that contract, that would be fine. I think the question and the reason why we're here this evening is because your day-to-day planner has left, and the mayor was asking us to step in and really provide interim services during this time period. So anything that we can do to help, any revisions that we can make so that you can be confident in your decision, we are happy to do so. And we're anxious to get council's direction on what our next step is.
Yeah, but
And-
also too, to add to that, I'm sorry, go ahead, David.
Just along those lines that Paul mentioned, I did look at the addendum, and I think I can mark it up pretty quickly and get it to him by tomorrow morning, just as a temporary basis into the next council meeting, because we do have that gap that we don't want to miss in the planning department with, servicing people trying to do business with the city. We've worked with Paul before. Member Watley advised that the previous contract would terminate, but I think what was terminated. But historically, what would happen is that 2007 contract was pretty much used at the city's leisure, whether or not they wanted to lean on McKenna at any given time or not lean on McKenna at any given time, they elected to do so. So since the previous one was terminated, I think it makes sense for us to mark this one up. I can get it to them first thing tomorrow to put in place for the next couple of weeks until we can get the entire, a newly drafted contract in front of the council going forward.
David, when you said the contract is like on a first comes, first served, if we need them, is there a time limit on this, or this is how long? I'm not sure if you know, maybe the mayor can answer. How long is this contract last for?
Well, the last one, I believe, and Paul can correct me if I'm wrong, they were in place, but we had a planner, and I believe Mark Stuhldreher was the interim emergency manager / city treasurer. And we needed, strong support in the planning area. And he went back to that contract that had never been actually terminated. Okay. And so it was really kind of open-ended. And again, it was based on pursuant to the terms, which I think is what his addendum tries to capture, based on what they do. It's a cost for this, it's a cost for that. It's not just for being, named as, a vendor of the city of Inkster. It's for actual work performed. But going forward, the new contract can have a start and end date like that's typical of all contracts.
Okay, thank you. So my question to the mayor, yes. Are we looking to hire a planner, or what's going on that?
Yes, so we do have a city planner posted for the position.
Okay.
As it relates to that. So it's been posted for about a week or so now.
Okay.
And, again, the only reason why this came before the council, and I'm looking at this email now, Felicia was correct. She sent it to me, and, it must have just got lost in translation for it to be sent to the entire council. So I just sent it to you all. And what David was referring to is relates to the contract back in 2016 with McKenna through Mark Stuhldreher, and those, the actual scope of work and, what would actually happen and what would continue on. So, yeah, so it was the understanding that the contract was still, still effective and that we could use them as we needed. Me and Paul, we've been talking since last November when I came into office. So just as it relates to, them being able to support us because they have historic knowledge with the city of Inkster and what we need.
Okay. Do
I
you
did
have,
just send
as
on
far
here.
as, I'm looking at
sorry,
this addendum, do you have like a dollar amount all at one, added up? So let us know if they have to be in here more than a month, how much we would pay them versus our budget line item in
Right.
planning?
Yes. So again, I wish VJ was on the line with that. And I believe that Brian is going to be on here shortly, so we can just let you know exactly what line item that's going to come out of, but it's actually coming out of from the planner's salary. So as it
Okay.
relates to not to exceed, what we would pay the actual planner each week or every 2 weeks. Until we
Okay.
get that city planner in place. And Paul, if he's, of course, afforded to continue on with us with McKenna, he'll do the same thing that he did with Mayor Nolan with me and Mr. Don to bring in the right person to fit us.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I did just send that document to all of you. So you should have that document. And that was sent to me on Wednesday, the 14th. So I apologize. I thought it was sent to the entire group, and to the entire council. So you should have that now, as it relates to the contracts that we have with McKenna.
Okay, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
I have a copy of additional services under the existing contract, and I guess this is the 2007 one, but it goes from 2016 and then it extends for 2 years. So does this mean that this was no longer a part of this as of 2008?
Yeah, that's a good question. So Paul, David, can you guys answer that?
This is the one that was sent out to Mark Dryer in 2016. It was signed by Philip C. McKenna, AICP president, and Mark Dryer.
You're going in and out, Councilwoman. I'm sorry. Councilwoman, you were kind of going in and out.
I'm sorry. I was telling you it's
Yeah, I see the signatures you were talking about.
yes. So
Yep.
I'm just trying to find out, because this is what contracts do. They stipulate our obligations. And I don't feel good about voting for something that I don't understand what I'm actually getting.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, I understand. And I can see it, and I see that here in the actual subsection.
And my other question is, when did Caitlin notify us of her leaving? How long
2
ago?
weeks. Two weeks.
She gave the 2-week notice. So
Yes.
at that time, that's when you put into place this, you begin to contact McKenna
Yes.
regarding planning?
Yes, to get ready for council meeting today. And she did notify, I did send out an email she sent out an email to entire council along with the planning commission and DDA. And we kind of spelled out what we were doing, and what our plan was to keep everything moving forward.
When you say that was to us?
I'm sorry, ma'am, speak, I can't, I don't know
Okay, that when you say spelled out, that was sent to all of council too?
Yes.
What you were planning on doing?
Yes, ma'am.
That's it. I'm sorry.
Okay. So again, I don't know what your pleasure is. We're just trying to move forward here in the city. So I want to make sure that I'm doing everything correctly. And you guys, of course, I appreciate, all the questions and helping me get it right. So I want to make sure that we're moving forward correctly. So, because from my understanding that, Paul had a contract, McKenna had a contract on an as needed basis that we would utilize their services. And this was one of those times. So I just wanted to make sure I brought it before the council so we're all on the same page on what we're doing.
So Mr. Chair, I mean, I guess to the attorney, I mean, how are we going to continue on with the service until the rest of the council is satisfied with seeing the contract? So we still need someone in the interim basis. So David, how do we set that in motion to make sure that we don't have the lapse in service, but yet still?
And I believe, and Paul can correct me if I'm wrong, that's what the addendum was designed to do, to just cover the immediate impact of losing Ms. Hines. And so with that understanding, it was my understanding that the addendum, the 2 or 3 page addendum, covers what we need to have covered in Caitlin's absence now. And I would agree to try to mark it up to just show that it's basically a, day-to-day contract for those services. And I haven't looked at the prices, but if the council and the mayor are satisfied with the cost for services rendered in the addendum, we could agree to have something going forward and up until our next council meeting to implement, a completely different contract. Since the prior contract, I think, Member Wiley indicated was 2016, was a 2-year basis. I think Paul indicated he would get their team to get together and get a draft to emulate what we've had in place previously. But just for the short term, so as not to have a lapse in coverage, we will work this addendum to cover what's needed in the immediate future.
And so that would look like about $1,800 as we looked at the breakdown as it relates to the services that we would need for Paul and Chris to come in and, for the next 2 weeks before we get back to the council meeting.
Okay, so about $1,800, and then that would give us the service.
Yes.
Okay.
That would cover us.
So then we would have to fashion a motion to make sure that it's only for those 2 weeks, the $1,800 for the service that we want to render thus far, because the business has to continue ongoing.
Correct.
And I would add that the motion should include subject to final review by the city attorney. So it's not the actual addendum that's before you. We're going to mark it up tonight or in the morning, and I'll correspond with Paul. And I've dealt with Paul in the past. He's always been reputable and competent, and I actually enjoy working with him years ago.
Okay, anything else on that?
Yeah, just one question. We were about tonight to look at a $1.7 million budget amendment. Where is this additional money coming from? Do we have something left in that line item for planning that
Yes,
would pay that?
Yes, ma'am. It's coming out of the actual director's salary.
Okay.
So this is just substituting what Caitlin would normally get. Okay,
Mayor, if I may,
please.
I just have one question, just with I believe you had a recommendation potentially for a motion that would allow you to authorize the addendum until the next council meeting when we would review a longer contract. I think that you referenced $1,800, which would be roughly the office hour time. I just wanted to mention that it's my understanding from talking with Chris that Caitlin had 5 applications that were for potential planning commission review, and that we would do those according to the review fees. So I believe there is work that needs to be processed for your next planning commission meeting, which we could hold until the next council meeting. But I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that work is out there too. And Chris could probably provide more details because he's looked at them, but it's worth bringing up that that's there too. We would welcome hold that work until the contract comes up, but I thought you would want me to mention it because now is the time when we're discussing that stuff, right?
Correct.
So I would say the addendum, and if you wanted to cap hourly services according to what you would spend on your regular planner's salary, I think that makes total sense.
Yes.
And the addendum is
That's what I would
generally,
ask. Yeah, and that's what I would ask to make her the motion to be. That we would, just cap it to what, we pay our regular planner each week leading up to council meeting.
So what is that actual, what is that
So
actual amount?
it'll be, so we should say 4,000 if that's the case. Because you have 2 weeks for planning commission. And then, well, actually you have planning commission next Monday. So no, it'll be 2,000. I was just thinking I don't know why I was thinking 2 a month. So.
So you're talking
it'll be-
about a total of about $2,000
Yeah,
plus the 18, right?
because some of those fees will actually be paid from the review fees that's already been collected. So it won't be her actual salary. So it'll be the people, the actual businesses that's paying, it's a fee associated with each application and each review. That's what Councilman Chisholm was referring to earlier as it relates to the engineering costs. If it's additional cost that needs to be passed on to the business owner, that's what'll happen.
So not to exceed what, $4,000?
Well, no, I think we should be comfortable. I would say if we balance it off at like 2,500, we should be fine.
Okay, not to exceed 2,500.
Mhm. You have 1,800 is our actual salary, and then Paul is going to actually be at that meeting, planning commission meeting, depending on how long it goes on. He would have to represent us hourly for that, so not to exceed that. Not saying that we would spend that amount.
Yeah, because he has to be at the planning commission meeting.
Of course.
Yes. Okay.
Mr. Chair, question
Yes.
for, who's doing
Yes.
our engineer work right now?
Mr. Bivens is on the line. It's Eric Tucker, so Tucker Young.
Okay, so are we looking to get another engineer or continue to use what we have?
Yeah, we're continuing to use what we have. Of course, we're just trying to tighten up our belt everywhere that we can. So we'll be, working with Paul. We're working with McKenna if we're, able to continue to work with them, working with Jerome, and of course with the engineer to see where we can cut and save some money.
Okay, so we necessarily wouldn't need an engineer from McKenna, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
we actually don't provide engineering services as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, Mayor Pro Tem. They don't provide engineering service. They
Okay.
work with Benicia before.
Okay,
So Paul's familiar with Kerry.
Absolutely. Yep.
Right.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions regarding that? All right, and then we do have a tabled item as it relates to Emory HR Services for extending the agreement. Unfortunately, our treasurer's not here tonight, but, and I just keep wanting to refer to that our treasurer's not here tonight just because he had a family emergency and his folks come onto the line so people can hear and know what's going on. That we will be joined by a representative from Plant Moran to be able to answer any questions as it relates to treasurer items tonight. So it's pretty straightforward as it relates to the contract. We were just looking at where the monies would come from. The treasurer did have a chance to look at the budget and to see where we could put monies to cover that cost for the HR person. We're pretty close. We've been doing interviews. I think we're close to get our top 3 candidates, and Mayor Pro Tem along with myself and Sue will be interviewing those people hopefully by this week on Friday. And we have some pretty good candidates, so I'm excited about getting that person in. So we're looking to extend that contract. I know there was some questions as it relates to, where the monies was going to come from, the overages for that because of the workers' comp that hit the HR department upwards in $150,000, taking that the personnel department over budget. not necessarily the salaries, what the actual workers get, but as we look at the budget, we're looking at the actual departments. So the department, as it relates to personnel and workers' comp, when it hit the personnel department, it was over $150,000, as you saw in the budget amendments. So we do need a person in HR to continue on with us. Sue did send you guys all a write-up. We all received a write-up from Sue as it relates to the work that she's done, the work that she's continuing to do, the work that needs to be done, and it's outstanding. So if you have any questions of me, I'll be happy to try to answer those. It is a tabled item. You can leave it on the table. You can untable it. It's definitely your pleasure. We do have Sue on the line as well. If anybody have any questions for her.
I have a question for you, Mr. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I would just like to know about this $150,000 workman's comp. Can you go a little further into it?
Well, I would love for, again, VJ called with an emergency, like right at the beginning of the meeting, and he called Brian from Plan Moran to be on the call, so I believe he'll be joining us at 7. But it's workers' comp from one of the firefighters, and not to go too deep off into it, I don't know if we can.
Okay.
But it is from a workers' comp claim from fire. I'm sorry, man, when we can get some more information for you as it relates to that. So, everyone to be on the same page with that.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I know in the budget talks this past week or two, VJ had mentioned there were some changes that were supposed to be occurring with the contract, or the extension, I should say, for HR services with Sue. I'm not aware of what those changes potentially were, and I never received anything in email. So if you could cover those, I know you said VJ is absent and some stuff wouldn't be able to get assessed tonight, but I would like to hear what those particular changes were at least.
And it was really just, Steve, to be honest, Sue is coming from, she's coming from Ann Arbor every day into the office. So it was really just the logistics of how she would work and then the amount of time that she would work. So the contract is pretty much the same. It was versus, I wanted her in the office 4 days out the week and she was driving back and forth, versus actually, being virtual and getting her work done and what those costs would look like. But the cost is pretty much the same. But as it relates to the service wouldn't necessarily change outside of the amount of time that we would utilize her in the office versus virtually.
Already.
Mr. Chair, I know he sent out a email about questions concerning these amendments. I did not get a chance to follow back up with him, but I know you may mention about it's going to be a reduction in that workers' comp claim to be able to pay for these next 2 weeks.
Say that one more time. You said a reduction in the workers' comp. I didn't necessarily say it would be a reduction in the workers' comp claim.
So it's going to still stay at that I may be mistaken, but I thought I heard that it was going to be some reduction in that it's not going to be that total amount that we was going to have to pay out for the workers' comp.
No, that's already been paid out, Councilman. I'm sorry.
Okay. So now the question would be is, again, those dollars from that department, will there be that $1,900 from that department to be able to pay for this?
$1,650.
$1,650.
Looking at reducing the rate, it would be $1,100 a week. As we look to reduce the rate to cover that, so it wouldn't go over.
Okay, so it wouldn't go over the budget.
Right, correct.
Okay, so that's an agreement to reduce the rate.
Yeah, so let me see here now. Let me forward this all to you as it relates to reducing the rate, so we can cover that cost. So I did just send that to you all, but that was based off of the negotiations, again, are the same thing that you received as it relates to her contract, but it was, again, could we cover the cost? So we knew that we couldn't cover the cost, so we asked her to reduce, of course, some of her time, and then, what we could do to, get it into the budget overall. So that's it there that you're looking at now. So I believe it's $1,110 a week versus the $1,650.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
And we're trying to know, and let me say this, that, we're again trying to get the right candidate in. We've been talking to some very talented people, and I think Sue, if you could actually speak to that a little bit as it relates to, the due diligence that you've been doing as it relates to getting the person in. I think we'll be okay overall. Sue, you're on mute right now. Let's see. Steve, could you give her?
There we go. I'm good.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, so we did, I think we're into scheduling final interviews of 3 really good candidates we think we have. So we're going to try and do those this week. And our goal is then, I think 2 of them, if we choose one of 2, they have to give their 2-week notice. So then 2 weeks out, then we can start training. We have one individual, if she's offered the position, accepts it, she can start probably a week out or right away. So she doesn't have to necessarily give that 2 weeks. So we're hoping, yes, within 2, maybe 3 weeks, we have that person's able to, start going, we can start training and things like that and get them off. But they all have pretty solid HR backgrounds. So that was our other thing that we were really trying to look for, is that was a big thing, actually, and I think all of them have higher qualifications than we were originally looking for. So again, we wanted to make sure we had a strong candidate that can sit on their own, since, the HR, we're a department of one. So, but yeah, I think we've made a lot of progress.
Okay, that's fine. Mr. Chair, can I ask Sue a question?
Please. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so does this entail doing payroll as well for the new HR person that's coming in?
So go ahead,
Go
Sue.
ahead. No,
No,
go
you
ahead, Mr. Mayor, because I think some
Okay.
of this isn't necessarily for me to
Yes.
answer.
Yeah, so let me say this, Councilwoman, and I did get a chance to look back at some notes as it relates to the previous budget and what we did say as a council, that we wanted to keep that generalist position in the budget. So we will be hiring that person, but that person will actually come in once we hire the director, human resource manager. Then we would bring in the generalist to do payroll. But Rhonda is going to continue on with us, working with us until we fill that gap.
Okay. Okay, all right, but thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, pushing up to 7 o'clock. I don't know, David, if you had anything for us in closed session.
Actually, no, it's nothing for closed session tonight.
All right, Council, unless you had anything else that you wanted to talk about. Right now, we have about 10 minutes. We can take a break. So let's break, and then we'll be back at 7 o'clock. Reverend Williams, you have prayer tonight, just so you know. All right. Thank you all. For the general public, we'll be back to start the general meeting at 7 p.m. promptly. Thank you. All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another meeting of the Inkster City Council's regular scheduled meeting. Today is April the 19th, 2021, and the time is 7 p.m. After the Pledge of Allegiance, we will continue to stand, and Reverend George Williams will be bringing the prayer for our city tonight. So if you could all join me in rising and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Let us
Reverend
pray.
Williams.
Father God, we come right now no other way but leaning on your everlasting love. Without you, Father, we can't do nothing. And I ask that you continue to keep your everlasting love around the city of Inkster. Touch our mayor, touch the council people, and that we can bind ourselves together with love, unity, and strength, and move this city forward. Inkster is a great place, Father, because we know love is in Inkster, Father, and we know that you is love. So we coming to you to have mercy upon our souls, Father, as we work together and make this a better place to be. In the name of Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Roll call, please.
Mayor Wimberly,
Here reporting from Inkster City Hall.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes, here we, virtual from our home in the city of Inkster.
Councilwoman Watley,
Yes, reporting from my home in the city of Inkster, Michigan, County of Wayne.
Councilman Williams,
Here, reporting from my home in the county of Wayne, Inkster, Michigan.
Councilwoman Washington,
Here appearing in my home in the city of Inkster in the county of Wayne.
Councilman Chisholm,
Here, reported virtually from my home, Inkster, Michigan, County of Wayne.
and Councilman Shaw.
Here in Inkster, Michigan.
Mayor, we have 7 present tonight and we do have a quorum.
All right, asking for approval of the agenda with. Yeah, so I don't think we need to, we'll just table the item B, or do we just remove it altogether, City Clerk?
You can table it, or if you, the choice is up to council's pleasure, but you can table the item until the next meeting.
Okay,
Or, yeah.
okay. All right, so approval of the agenda,
So move, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Mayor.
there's support,
Or
discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Watley,
Yes,
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
yes,
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
and Councilmember Washington.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, motion carries. Presentations, we do have Commissioner Glenn Anderson from Wayne County that she is on tonight. I would like to yield a few minutes to him. We've been working, doing a lot of cool stuff with the county, some different improvements going on in the parks and throughout the city. And Glenn has really been instrumental in helping us with that. So here you are. Hey, Commissioner.
Hi there, how's everyone?
Good.
hi,
Good.
sir.
I just wanted to say, Mayor, thanks for the opportunity and the council to be part of your meeting tonight. And good evening to Inkster citizens, because it's the Inkster citizens that we're all here for, in trying to do good things, to make things better in all of our communities. I wanted to update everyone on some exciting improvements coming to Inkster, and some that have already happened, including the repaving of Middle Belt Road and addition of a sidewalk. And part of Cherry Hill will be receiving some major attention this construction season by the County Department of Public Service. And it's not as much of Inkster or of Cherry Hill as I'd hoped for this season, but every budget year I'm pushing for additional improvements to our road system around my district and Wayne County even. The 2 county parks that are in Inkster, Colonial Park and Inkster Park, will get some needed improvements, including on the roads in the park, in those parks, as well as parking and sports facilities, some of the baseball fields and some of the other opportunities that are there for recreation will be improved this year, this construction season. The Inkster Golf Course, as everyone knows, is a county-owned facility and will soon have its sign replaced. It'll be done when they're doing other signage in other parks, but it'll be part of that process. I want to thank the mayor for bringing that to my attention. Many times you pass by something and it takes someone to mention it and bring it to your attention that you really realize that something needs serious attention. And we want the citizens of Inkster to be proud of everything that's in the city of Inkster, as we all should be of our communities. And we want a nice representation when someone drives by and comes into the city. And I apologize that I hadn't noticed that sooner, but I appreciate the mayor calling me on it. These and future improvements wouldn't be possible without the involvement of the council and the mayor and the partnership that we've had working together to make these things happen for this great community. We should all be proud of the community, and we all should do everything we can to make it a better place to live, work, and play. And I appreciate that cooperation very much, and wanted to essentially to say tonight, thank you to the city council and to the mayor for all their efforts to support what I'm trying to do and what the county is trying to do to make Inkster a better place and the county a better place. And I just wanted as a reminder to everyone that if they see something that needs attention on a county road, even if you're not sure if it's a county road or if it's a city road, please let us know. We have a hotline at the county, and if they just remember to dial 1-888 road crew, they will take it down. And if it's a city road, they'll refer it to the DPS department in the city. But if it's a county road, we should get some attention to it very quickly. And I'd appreciate that. And I would also appreciate if you don't see attention within a few days, call my office and let me know, because then I'll follow up on it. And again, I'd like to thank the mayor for his support and cooperation, and really working together, I think, has been very important for the council, what the council's doing, and for what the mayor's doing, and for what I'm doing. We all have to work together to do everything we can to make things better. And that concludes my report tonight.
Any questions for Commissioner Anderson from the council?
Yeah, I had one, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Councilman Williams.
The park, Inkster Park. Are the county going to put money into Inkster Park this year?
Yes, Inkster Park and Colonial Park.
Okay.
And what I had asked the Parks Director to do, and she said it will be part of their program this year, this construction season, to renovate the park and provide some improvement to the baseball fields, to the roads there, and the parking that's available there to improve that. And what we're expecting is to get paving in there. So we should see some.
You're gonna pave the park?
Pave the roads in there.
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah, that's what we've been advocating for. So we appreciate the commissioner being a champion of that. Every time I call him, he seems like he's on top of it. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I know the mayor, he's got a direct line to me, as any one of you really have. And I know Councilman Chisholm and I speak often, and Councilperson Watley, they don't hesitate to call me, and I'd urge you, none of you, to hesitate to call me if you have an issue.
Any other questions, comments? Yes, Councilman Shaw.
You know, I appreciate your your service, and I remember you from down through the years. At the time, you wasn't commissioner. I think you was at the state then when I first got on council.
Mhm.
And I appreciate all that you have done for the city of Inkster, and your honesty and your upfrontness. We talked about Colonial Park, and I definitely want to advocate for Colonial Park because it's one of the beautiful parks in my district. If possible, if it's not in this budget year, the next budget year, we definitely need another gazebo because we're definitely outgrowing the park. I mean, many people are coming to the park, they're enjoying the park. And when we have that type of outlet, it's a thriving part of our neighborhood. That's where people can go and burn off energy. Kids can go and burn off that energy, and they won't be in the streets doing, ungodly things. So to speak. But if we can, definitely, if not, this year, if you could put it on your radar to possibly get us another gazebo. I mean, so we can pack that gazebo out and just enjoy the park.
Yep.
It's a beautiful jewel within the city of Inkster, and I know that you have a commitment and you have been committed to us in bringing monies to the city, and I just want to reach out to you with that.
I'm happy to do that, and I'm putting it on my list for the budget meetings when we start. It'll probably be in late July when we start working on the budget, and I will definitely have that on my request list. I think the pavilions are so important to be able to for families to gather together, and we've suffered. I think families have suffered so much. And as a grandparent, I can tell you, not being able to be with family has been probably one of the toughest things to deal with. That has been a result of the pandemic that we've just come through and we're still dealing with. So we want to have it ready when the folks and being outdoors, it's a much safer place to gather. And so we want to have those facilities there for them. So I pledge to you that I will do everything I can to make that come to fruition.
Yeah, good. And you have been doing that. So
Thank you.
I really appreciate you. As it relates to Colonial Park, Councilman Shaw, you'll be happy to know we will have a football field. And that's football, so soccer and football at the Colonial Park. Yeah, this season. So I'm excited about that.
And that's another attractive factor. That's a drawing factor when we have young families coming into the neighborhood, and they can see that that's an awesome thing because that's that's a jewel. It really is a jewel.
It's already a new playscape in Inkster Park already. So the new playscape in Inkster Park is up. It's actually really nice. Connects over to the Greenway path all the way up into Colonial Park. So we're working on it.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing those improvements and joining all of you there, maybe when we cut a ribbon or something.
Yeah, that'd be great. Any other questions or comments for our commissioner?
Mayor, I just wanted to once again mention that I appreciate, I have 3 communities that I represent, and it's difficult to know everything that's going on and what all the needs are. So I appreciate everyone communicating with me and let me know what's happening. And I know Councilman Chisholm, we talk regularly, message back and forth, and as yourself included, and Councilwoman Watley, as I mentioned before, and Councilwoman Washington too. We have a great level of communication, and that's what makes it possible to make these things happen. And we're all here for the same thing, as I mentioned earlier. That's to serve the citizens.
Well, thank you for being a champion for Inkster. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
And the commission, and of course, our executive, Warren Evans. So thank you so much.
Thank you all.
All right, sir. All right, consent agenda?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
There's support.
Support.
It's been moved and properly supported. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Williams,
Yeah.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley,
No.
and Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 5 yeas and 1 nay.
All right, motion carries. Boards and commissions.
Mr.
Going
Chairman,
around. Go ahead, please, Council.
I would like to reappoint Brother Roosevelt Stubbs to the Commission of Aging.
Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, motion carries. Any others? Any others? All right, I would like to appoint Confense Mendisa to the TIFA board. No support?
What did you say? I didn't hear you, Mr. Mayor.
Confense Mendisa.
Support.
So move. Support.
It's been properly moved and supported. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
and Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, motion carries. City Clerk, I didn't see, I know that Kevin Harrington put in his application. Did we get that out to the council? It relates to his boards and commissions to be appointed?
I have to go back and check my emails, Mr. Mayor. I believe that did go out. For some reason, I remember seeing his name, so.
Yeah, I know he told me that he came into the office and applied, but I didn't see an email to the council. So I wanted to be able to appoint him to the TIF, because if you guys recalled, on last meeting, we needed to have a TIF meeting. So we were looking for appointments.
I don't know if he came into the office to apply.
Okay,
So I would have to check on that because I don't have anything from that
Okay.
capacity. I thought he emailed something though.
okay. Yeah, I know that he was in my office and then came down to your office and grabbed the packet, so he may have sent it back. So I want to be able to, we need another person on the TIF, and I don't know if you all would be up to allowing Mr. Harrington to be able to serve until you get his resume, but all of you, for the most part, I don't know, you should know Kevin Harrington. He's been serving in the community for some time now, so. So what's your pleasure? Because we do need another member on the TIF unless someone else has another recommendation, and he's ready to serve.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Support.
Any discussion?
Can we just still make sure we get his information on the back end?
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley.
No.
Mayor, we have 5 yeas and 1 nay.
All right, motion carries. I would also like to appoint Confense Mendisa to the Beautification Committee.
Who was that? You
Mr.
said?
Chair.
Confense Mendisa.
So move.
Their support.
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Wiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
and Councilmember Williams.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, and lastly, I would like to I want to appoint Kevin to the Beautification Committee too. I'll just get him to work and then I'll make sure that we get them on the next one. But I want Tangela Ward to be appointed to the Beautification Committee. Can I have support for that?
So move.
There's support.
Support.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yays.
All right, motion carries. Moving on to previous business.
Item A, under previous business that needs to be removed from the table is consideration and approval extending the temporary agreement with Emory HR LLC for 6 weeks.
What's your pleasure?
So move, Mr. Chair.
We're supposed to table?
It has to be removed from the table. This is the motion to remove it from the table.
Motion to remove.
Thank you.
There's support.
Support.
All right, any discussion about that?
Mr.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Chair,
I'm sorry, yes, sir. Make it a motion.
now in the agenda, it talks about 6 weeks, but in the contract, you have 4 weeks. Now, is it going to be additional charges or fees? Or are we going to still be able to meet that dollar amount as
Yeah.
$1,100?
Yeah, and that's why we came back with that, what you're looking at now, as it relates to being able to stay within the budget and the time that we need, understanding that we're looking to hire an HR person rather quickly, and then who's ever successful, we need to at least give them 2 weeks, and then from there to bring them in for some training.
So is it 4 weeks for the contract and 2 weeks for a training? What you're saying?
So it'll be 4 weeks. It'll
Okay,
end on May the 10th, 2021.
Okay, 4 weeks. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, I got you.
But we tabled it to bring it back to you to make those adjustments, for you all to be able to, be comfortable and know that we can afford it.
Right. Okay.
Okay. It has been removed from, did we remove it from the table?
Yes, it's been removed from the table.
Okay, so we've been discussing it. Okay, so we already discussing, off into the discussion of
Yes.
it. Okay. Any other questions about that? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yeah.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
and Councilmember Wiley.
No.
Mayor, we have 5 yays and 1 nay.
All right, moving right along to new business.
Mr. Mayor, now it was removed from the table. Now it needs to be a motion to approve. However,
Okay.
So did you want me to say, to approve it for the 4 weeks?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
I
approved for
so
the
move,
first.
I so move, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, this is a motion to approve extending the temporary agreement with Emory HR LLC for 4 weeks.
4 weeks, I move.
There's support,
Support.
moved and properly supported. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Wiley,
No.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yeah.
Councilmember Chisholm,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
Yes.
and Councilmember Shaw.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 4 yays and 2 nays.
All right, motion carries. Okay, City Clerk, can we move on now?
Yes.
All right, good, then new business.
New business, item A is consideration and approval of a 6-month extension for special land use for a proposed medical marijuana cultivation facility in the M1 Light Industrial District at 2740 Beach Daily between Princeton and the railroad tracks. Sam Baydoun, on behalf of SBR Holdings LLC, is the applicant.
What's your pleasure?
So move, Mr. Mayor.
There's support? There's support for discussion?
Support.
Been moved and properly supported. Discussion. This is pretty straightforward. This is an extension of what you've already approved. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Washington,
Sorry. Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
Councilmember Watley,
Yes.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
No,
Mayor, we have 5 yeas and 1 nay.
All right, motion carries. Item B, I'm asking to be tabled until the next meeting. Our treasurer.
This motion, Mr. Mayor.
Is this-
I'm sorry, am I supposed to read this or no? Or
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
okay, item B is consideration and approval of the FY 2021 budget amendment to table until May 3rd, 2021.
So move.
Is there support? All right, and again, please, all your prayers to our treasurer and his family member. He, right before the meeting, called me and let me know that he was dealing with an emergency, a family emergency. So please, all prayers out to him. Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard,
yes,
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
Yes.
and Councilmember Watley.
Yes.
Mayor, we have 6 yeas.
All right, motion carries. All right, getting into public participation.
Are we on item
Oh,
C?
I'm sorry. You know what? That's me too. I'm working off the first agenda, item C.
Item C is consideration and approval for the McKenna and Associates contract addendum for planning department services, subject to final review by the city attorney. And there is a not to exceed $2,500 amount.
Yes. So move, Mr. Chair.
Support.
Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I just had a
Yes.
question. Now, if McKenna Associates come aboard as for the work, will they be doing anything in the building department?
No,
That's all I have.
and this is as needed. And the building department will be overseeing that. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Watley,
No.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Chisholm,
No.
Councilmember Shaw,
Yes.
Councilmember Washington,
Yes.
and Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
yes,
Mayor, we have 4 yeas and 2 nays.
All right, motion carries. All right, city clerk, I'm ready. You're keeping me, I'm moving too fast today. You're keeping me in order. Ready to go on public participation? All right, this brings us to the agenda item for public participation. Councilman Chisholm, you have the floor. You can give them the rules and regs and we can move it on.
All right, we are at public participation for those in the general public who have joined us by Zoom app. To be recognized, please use the raise hand feature. For those who have dialed in by telephone, please press *9 to raise your hand. At the time that you are recognized, please state your name for the record. You have 1 minute to address this body.
All right, let's go with Commissioner Brock.
All righty.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
good
We
evening.
got great news. The Inkster Democratic Club has begun, and we are inviting people to join us. If you are interested, you can contact Jennifer Williams. Everybody knows her. And we will have a meeting on the 26th of this month. So come out and join us. Now, as a citizen, I am very concerned about the budget amendments. I sat through all 3 of the workshops, and I heard a lot about how much more money we need to approve, but I didn't hear anything about how we're going to generate any more money or where we're slashing money from. And so that concerns me as a citizen about overrunning the budget. I think it needs to be a little bit more accountability from departments as to staying into budgets. None of us would run our households that way, and we can't afford to do that as a city. The other thing is, I just want to know, and I'm not trying to be funny, but in light of everything that's going on, I would like to know what is our police department's stance on chokeholds and also no-knock warrants, just as a point of reference. Just everything's going on in the community, and I couldn't answer that question for somebody, so I would like to know that.
Yeah, we'll definitely have the chief respond back to you in writing, so we're all on, we have that directly from him.
And one last thing, Mayor, if I can.
Yes.
We've got to review the democratic process, not just voting. When we have a set of rules that we go by, whether it's the city charter, voting, or whatever, that's what needs to be followed. That's part of the democratic process that we have set. So when we keep allowing things to occur that are not where they're not following the democratic process, and you as the council allowing that to keep happening, whether it's administration, below administration, you guys are the gatekeepers. And as a citizen, I am very disappointed in the council right now. And it doesn't mean all of you. You guys got to search your own self and decide which people you are. Because it's a section of the community that's very disappointed in you guys.
All right, Commissioner. And
Thank you.
You're right. Just for point of clarification, as it relates to the budget amendments, that's what we're doing. So as it relates to the budget amendments, if you had been listening to what we were doing for those 3 days, it was monies that were saved, monies that were generated, monies that were overrun, and then we also are getting into our budget as it relates to reducing and cost savings. So let's continue to tune in, and if you need to come in, Commissioner, anytime, feel free into my office, and we can talk and we can work together, because you are an important part of this process as it relates to you being a commissioner over in housing, not only a citizen. It's important that we talk and that we're on the same page.
I would love to do that. It was just very hard to see on the screen, so I could not see the green parts like I could see the red parts. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. All right, let's go with Tony Dunbar.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Tony Dunbar from Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's office. I'm her legislative caseworker and community liaison. I just wanted to come and provide a few highlights this week. Congresswoman Tlaib, go ahead. I'm sorry, let's see, make sure. Can you guys see me? Okay, good. Congresswoman Tlaib and Congresswoman Dingle continues to push for a water moratorium to prevent shutoffs during the pandemic for our residents in need of access to water to keep themselves and their families safe. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you guys hear me? I'm just making sure. Okay, good.
Yes.
Sorry, because it said my internet was unstable for some reason. So also just giving you guys a heads up, implementation of the American Rescue Plan includes funding to our local municipalities and communities, funding to our schools to help address learning loss, and then for mobile vaccinations. And it's important to encourage, of course, all of our residents to go get vaccinated and mask up so that we can slow the spread. We did get a timeline for the mobile vaccinations. I'll pull that up really quickly. It started Friday and it will be up until April 26th. Give me 1 second to give that. But I did want to sit on a piece about the funding to our local municipalities. Right now, our office is trying to get the information or those numbers for you all to understand it. And once we receive the numbers from appropriations, then our office will be able to kind of give you guys and how much that money would be. Known. At this point, FEMA is providing funeral assistance for families who lost loved ones due to COVID. Application started on April 12th. And you're able to start a process or the application process by calling the 800 number. For those who are on the phones, I'm going to 684-6333. And again, a representative get on the line. You guys will start the process, and they'll be able to give you the details. Other than office, our congressional art competition for high school students only. You can submit by April 23rd. Okay. And I said I was going to I can always give our office number. If you have any questions or concerns, you can always email our office, rashida@mail.house.gov, or call us at our district number, because usually when people call the DC number, they send it over to us because we're all working from home. But you can call us at 313-463-6220. And is there any questions for me, for you all? Thank you. Thank you.
What were the last four numbers?
For our office?
Yes.
6220. And I apologize, when I advise about the mobile clinics, that's for both the FEMA Ford Field and Protect Michigan Commission. And that's in Oakland County, Oakland, Macomb, Wayne, and Washtenaw counties. And they do have an 800 number that you can call. If you're ready, it's 1-866-610-3885.
All right. Thank you so very much. And
absolutely.
Let the Congresswoman know that we appreciate the work that you all are doing for us. All right. Let's go to Ms. Octavia Smith, please.
Hi, good evening, everyone, Mayor, council members, residents. First of all, I like to just thank you all for doing what you can as far as keeping our city going. You know, it's going, and that's a good thing. Also want to always ask everyone to keep in mind that at Western Wayne Family Health Center, we are doing COVID vaccinations. Generally on Fridays is your first dose. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday is generally the second doses for those who have already had their first dose. And finally, I just want to say with the Chamber of Commerce, the Inkster Chamber of Commerce, I'm not sure if you guys know, but we are looking for a home so that when we have members in the business community to stop by, we have somewhere they can stop by. So if you guys have any rooms, buildings, or anything that you're looking to rent out or something like that, please give us a call or an email. Our phone number at the Inkster Chamber is 313-300-1057. And of course, Inkster Chamber of Commerce @gmail.com. Thank you all for your time and hope to see y'all in person soon. God bless.
Bless. Thanks. All right, we have a caller on here that's under the name of Rick Wershey, and I believe that's the infamous white boy Rick. So, let's recognize the name, please. Recognize the call.
Hi, yes, this is Rick Wershey. It is a crying shame that everyone wants to quit working for the Mayor Wimberly's dysfunctional administration. It's sad to see Caitlin Hines go. The next person that needs to resign and quit is a city attorney, David Jones. It's time for him to go. All he does is collect the $6,000 monthly retainer fee. His time should be up. The next thing I want to say, it is a shame that Mayor Wimberly makes $109,000 each year, and he has not paid his $3,000 in his 2020 property taxes. He ought to be ashamed of himself, and he's a fraud.
All right, white boy Rick, you got anything else to say? All right, moving right along. Caller in user 1. Calling user 1.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This is Tony Bailey, Beautification.
Yes, hey, Tony.
How are you? Yes, this Saturday, the community-wide cleanup is this Saturday. We're going to be at the Book of Dozier, 9 a.m. I'd like to see everyone. Beautification. We're going around seeing what areas need cleaning. Also, I would like council, if you guys can go around in your area to let us know what areas need cleaning as well, to work with us, or have your advisory team, go out, to help us out with, cleaning what needs cleaning in your area so we can properly direct the individuals on what areas to pick up all the litter and debris. Also, everyone, we all going to be outside, wear your mask. So I like to see everyone out 9 a.m. at the rec center, rain or shine.
All right, good. And we're just going to ask too that since we got a little bit of time, that the council, then in turn, we put together some cohorts in your community. And let's get some volunteers out and bring those folks out along with yourself, and let's get to work together. We'll be out together, and we're asking that the whole community get out and start to clean and to pick up in our community. Clean, safe, accessible Inkster. All right. Look like we went through everybody. Council. Councilwoman Wiley, you want to start?
I have nothing.
All right. Councilman Chisholm.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for the general public, some concerns were expressed to me from constituents in my district about the shootings that had occurring not only in our district, but just all over the city, and just the fear that was starting to be instilled in citizens. I did talk with Chief Riley, and he had, made reference to different things that were put in place, as well as he referenced the monthly packet the council receives with the statistics about the crimes that were tended to. Most notably, the guns that were collected off of the streets. So I referenced that, and just we'll be relaying the information back to the constituents and everything as well. But it was just some key points in there, and just a conversation that I wish to express to the viewing audience, and I will be expressing to those who had basically started a little bit of chatter in one of the Inkster Facebook groups, just to provide the information to them and give reassurance about the safety in the city and the work that the Inkster Police Department does. And that's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, Councilman Chisholm, thank you. Councilman Shaw.
I just want to start out by saying I want to thank the Sergeant Don Wall and the Code Enforcement Department. We had some set outs or some dump on Harrison and Glenwood, and they was there. She was there right away and got that removed out the area that I saw. And I also want to thank Jerome Bivens and the DPS department for the street sweeper. And I went down about 7 or 8 streets, and it looked beautiful. I mean, it was beautiful. The streets look clean. I mean, opposed to all of the stuff that had fallen off the trees, the debris that was in the streets. Man, they did a beautiful job. And I just want to encourage my neighbors in the district. Talk to your neighbors. Now, what I've saw on a few streets is people are cutting grass and they're leaving the grass clippings in the street. If you can, reach out to your neighbors, let them know. Let's keep the streets clean. They just ran the street sweeper. It costs the city money, but we're trying to do what we can with what we have. And if we can continue, I know we have the beautification committee coming on, and we're going to go around throughout the district, but let us continue the momentum when the street sweepers are out there and they're cleaning up. Let's keep that fire going. And if we can, talk to your neighbors. If your neighbors are approachable, let them know, hey, I'll help you out. if you know somebody within my district that grass clippings are in the area and they can't do it themselves, I know I have some seniors, call me, let me know. I will come out personally and get those grass clippings out of the street. And let's pick up the trash. You know, they did a great job with the street sweepers, and I applaud them for it. And also, I just have one more thing, Mr. Chair, police patrol on North River Park. You know, that's an area, and I also wanted to bring this to the commissioner's attention as well. If we can get the sheriffs around the park over there on North River Park, because they do a lot of dumping. They dump mattresses and furniture over there. So if we could get some help on that area there, I appreciate it. That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right, and then I'll make sure that I follow up with the sheriff, Ray Washington. He's very accessible to us as it relates to that, Councilman, because I know he's going to be helping me out with doing more patrols at the actual convenience stores and gas stations and things of that nature within our community. So we'll definitely tell him about the parks.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. The chair would like to yield for a second and recognize again Octavia Smith. Octavia?
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to publicly, on behalf of Joel Jones, State Representative Joel Jones, he asked me to just let everyone know that he definitely appreciate and thank you all for your prayers in upholding, you know, and doing what you do for him. And he wanted me to say holla. Thank you.
That's nice.
Will you let him know that we're definitely here and supporting him? Our prayers are definitely with him and you as well and your family.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Councilman Williams.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I just had two things. First of all, I would like to, speaking about the street sweepers. First of all, when they come back again, they came and attempted to do a great job. I kind of have to try to halfway agree with Councilman Shaw, but they cannot do a great cleanup with all the cars still on the street. Okay, we got to put the signs out there to let people know to move their cars so they can clean the streets properly. Because they had to go all around them cars there, and over my district, you know, the streets didn't get cleaned like they should.
Okay, we're definitely working on that. We know that in the past when we put the signs out and then it didn't happen on that day, we had a lot of people upset.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, what we're going to try to do is work with you in your district, letting you know, then through your newsletter or whatever it is, through the city's newsletter, however, these are the days, put it on the public access channel, the social media channel. Troy has been doing a really good job of trying to keep up with that stuff and put it out there and make sure that we get that information. So maybe it's a kicker card or flyer or poster or something that we would have to invest in to be able to let the community know that. But as it relates to just putting out that actual sign, a yard sign and saying, hey, it's going to be today, it may not happen. And a lot of constituents, you know, they get upset. So we're going to work with us together and figure out a plan to attack that. But they have been doing a really good job as it relates to the street streets.
Next I would like to commend all of the people in District 1 for the job they're doing in the area. DPS also working in the area. The housing authority is working in that area. We have did a lot of great cleanup in District 1. Now, you ride through there and just look how great and clean that it's getting. Okay. I think the officers that we have over there, because you know, even though fast as we clean, somebody's always trying to dump. So they have caught, you know, several people trying to dump in the area. And I just think if all of us come together and watch out for our areas, we'll be able to continue to clean up this city. You know, so I just want to commend them also. Also, I'd like to commend all of the people who had a caring heart to try to help my organization, National Christian Action Youth Ministry, to it had a fundraising event this Friday and Saturday. They came out and support. I especially would like to thank Mrs. Martha from the Gabby's Cement for whole crew coming in and supporting us. The mayor and the whole DPS department came out and supported us. I want to shout out to the mayor, give him a thank you. You know, things like this is what make this city be able to continue to move forward. You know, and I just want to send them out and all of the people who came out, sacrificed and came out and tried to support us. I mean, we were very successful. And it just commended to know that we can work together and trying to get things done. Okay, so I wanted to bring that out. Another thing I want to say, not only do we want to continue to wrap our arms around Jewel Jones, we want to continue to send a prayer, have God to put his everlasting love around him and understand, and then whatever we can do, you know, we have to stand support for him, you know, because we know when they try to do something to one of us and get us tied up, they try to destroy us, and we cannot afford that. So I send him a message today that I'm prepared, and anything that I can do, I'm gonna keep him in the prayer, and I'm asking all the saints of God. I told him in the ministry alignment that we're gonna continue to pray for him, okay, and pray for his family, and that we can move forward. And that's all I have today, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much, Reverend Williams. We're definitely working to move the city forward. So thank you. Councilwoman Washington.
Just asking for more police presence on Glenwood. I received 2 calls today with a lot of criminal activity going on Glenwood. And that's all I have for tonight.
Okay, so definitely gonna make sure we make a note of that for you.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Howard.
Hi, yes. The same thing that my councilwoman just said. Police presence is necessary. It's getting hot. They're flying down the streets. Florence and Sylvia area, we have signs out there for children that is disability that has to be dropped off. I have had several calls, them flying past the school bus while the school bus lights were on. It's an accident waiting to happen. So if they could just be present, because like I said, all night long, they're flying down the streets, and this is getting crazy. So that's the only thing I have, is just more police present for the people who are speeding in our city.
Okay, we'll definitely make a note of that and then
Thank you.
pass that along. You're welcome, ma'am. Okay, just getting right into it very quickly. We used to have committees when I was on council 2008, 2012, as it relates to the finance committee, building and safety, risk management. And I really want to institute those again with this council. I know that, you know, some of you, of course, have been part of committees before in the past, but I think it'll really be helpful as it relates to formulating those committees. For instance, if we have a member from, or member of two, or 2 members from the council serve, say, on the finance committee, then in turn you will meet with the treasurer on a monthly basis, however you guys deem, and then you will report back to the council on your findings. So I'm looking forward to the council stepping up and being a part of the process and trying to help us as it relates to processes, and, you know, being, again, as we talk about transparency, just being more, you know, collaborative and speaking together and working together and trying to get on the same voice as we're working to move our city forward. So I will be sending out an email this week as it relates to Finance Committee, Buildings and Grounds Committee, Safety and Risk Committee, to see, you know, where this body would want to volunteer. So I know I have some ideas as it relates to, you know, where I would like to see people volunteering their strengths, but it's totally up to you, because it is volunteering above what, you know, you would normally do. But I think it's just really help us to become more finite.
Mr. Chair,
All
I
right.
would definitely like to volunteer for the
Mr.
finance committee. I mean, you know,
Okay.
I want to be a part of
the finance
it.
committee
Not
too.
a problem.
Okay, and I know that all of us understand that all of us on council are, you know, it's our fiduciary responsibility. That's our responsibility as it relates to the budget itself. On the finance committee, you guys will be diving in a little bit deeper, and then reporting back to the council and, you know, making suggestions, this, that, and the other. So I want us to, you know, we'll put that out there and then you guys can go from there. As it relates to contracts for the city, you know, we've been talking kind of back and forth, and we're coming up on budget. Felicia, if you could send out again, I know that you've been sending out as it relates to contracts being contracts that need to be updated, and contracts that, you know, need to come before this body. We have the realtor's contract that's out there that needs to be updated, and we need to present it out to the general public for those people that want to, you know, be part of whatever we're doing in the city. So I would say that everything that we have contracted out, that we look at, you know, moving the city forward, looking at those contracts together as a body. And if we need to go back out for proposal, whatever it is in the city, we should be doing that, especially coming up on the next fiscal year. The other thing is that tomorrow at the state capitol in Lansing, I will be standing with other mayors from across our great state, Black mayors in particular, as we talk about voter suppression in our state and rejecting that voter suppression. So we will have a press conference. Warren Evans will be up as our executive from Wayne County. Marcus Muhammad from out of the great city of Benton Harbor is leading up the charge. And we'll be joined by Highland Park, East Point, Flint, Pontiac, Saginaw, and Muskegon Heights, those mayors as well. So we will be in Lansing tomorrow doing that. And lastly, community, let's continue to try to stay as safe as we possibly can. Continue to wear your mask, continue to social distance, continue to wash your hands. COVID has not gone anywhere. This is very important. And we know that the vaccinations are out. The city of Inkster, in conjunction with FEMA, working with the county and Denise Champagne, along with Chief Hubbard, been doing a great job of getting our folks vaccinated. However, the vaccination is just what it is. It's the COVID vaccination. So still continue to wear your mask, social distance. We know that it's getting warm out, so people are going to be doing gatherings and things of that nature. So we don't want to go back on lockdown. So we need your help. We need your help. So let's continue to keep each other safe. Hearing that, nothing for closed session. Asking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Is there support?
Support.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, everyone have a great week. Thank you.